Hot take. If your RAG system only gets better when you keep rewriting the prompt, your real problem may not be retrieval. But there is one case where prompt tuning absolutely matters.
Right. Prompt tuning is not a rescue spell for weak indexing, bad chunking, or missing documents. It helps when retrieval is mostly correct, but the model still mishandles the evidence it already has.
So this is not about prompt magic. It is about a specific failure mode.
Exactly. The condition is simple. Relevant context is already in the top results, yet answers are still inconsistent, overly generic, or logically sloppy. In that zone, prompt changes can improve how the model reads, prioritizes, and uses retrieved text.
Give me the practical test. How does a programmer know they are in that zone instead of fooling themselves?
Inspect failures. If the needed fact appears in retrieved chunks and the model still ignores it, blends it with prior knowledge, or answers before resolving contradictions, that is a promptable problem. If the fact never shows up, prompting will not save you.
Concrete example.
Say you built a support assistant for an internal API. A user asks, "How do I rotate service account keys without downtime?" Retrieval returns the migration guide, the key rotation runbook, and an old deprecated doc. The right answer is there, but the model gives a vague summary and misses the sequence constraint. That is a prompt issue about evidence handling, not retrieval coverage.
And if you ignore that distinction, you start tuning the wrong layer.
Yes, and that gets expensive fast. Teams burn weeks changing embeddings, rechunking everything, or swapping vector stores when the model simply needed clearer instructions on ranking sources, citing recency, and refusing unsupported steps.
So what kind of prompt tuning actually helps, without turning into a bag of hacks?
3 things. First, decision policy. Tell the model how to choose among retrieved sources, especially when they conflict. Second, evidence discipline. Require answers to be grounded in the provided context, not memory. Third, output strategy. Ask for the form that best exposes reasoning quality, like a short answer plus supporting bullets, instead of one polished blob.
That sounds almost too clean. Where does it break in the real world?
It breaks when your retrieval set is noisy in a very specific way. Not empty. Noisy. The model sees 5 chunks, 3 are relevant, 1 is stale, 1 is adjacent but tempting. Prompt tuning helps the model resolve that mix. It does not help when all 5 chunks are wrong.
Another example, because this is where teams lose trust.
Think about policy search in a company handbook. An employee asks, "Can contractors access customer analytics exports?" Retrieval returns the current access control policy, an exception memo, and an onboarding page. The model often latches onto the friendliest sounding text. A better prompt can force it to prefer policy documents over onboarding pros, note exceptions, and state uncertainty if approval language is missing.
So the winner is the team that can tell whether the model failed to find evidence or failed to obey evidence.
That is the split. Retrieval failure versus evidence use failure. If you cannot separate those in evaluation, you will keep shipping changes that look impressive in demos and collapse in production.
How do you recognize evidence use failure at scale, not just by reading random transcripts?
Label a sample with 3 checks. 1. Was the answer supporting fact present in retrieved context? 2. Did the answer cite or clearly use that fact? 3. Did the answer follow the right precedents, like newest policy over old note or spec over blog? If 1 is yes and 2 or 3 are no, prompt tuning is a strong candidate.
And what goes wrong when teams ignore that and just keep broadening retrieval?
They create a bigger haystack. More chunks, more distractors, more contradiction. Then the model becomes less stable, latency goes up, token cost goes up, and confidence goes down. You gave it more text, not more judgment.
That is a brutal trade. Higher cost and worse answers.
Exactly. There is also a strategic consequence. Once users see the system answer confidently against the supplied evidence, they stop trusting the whole stack. It stops mattering that retrieval recall is decent if the generation layer keeps betraying it.
Let me push on one edge case. What if the model sees the right chunk, but still misses it because the chunk is badly structured?
Then, prompt tuning may help a little, but only a little. If critical facts are buried, fragmented, or stripped of headings, fix chunking and document formatting first. Prompting helps most when the evidence is accessible enough to be used, but the model needs better rules for using it.
So the practical play is not tune the prompt until scores rise. It is first prove retrieval got the evidence, then tune how the model arbitrates and answers.
Yes, treat prompt tuning as a control layer over evidence, not a substitute for missing evidence. In mature RAG systems, that layer matters a lot because small instruction changes can reduce hallucinated glue, improve source precedence, and make abstention actually work.
One last example. Fast.
A sales enablement bot retrieves the current pricing sheet and an outdated discount FAQ. Without clear instructions, it may merge them and promise a discount that no longer exists. With the right prompt policy, it privileges the current sheet, flags the conflict, and avoids creating revenue leakage from a bad answer.
So when prompt tuning helps RAG, it is not because prompts are magical. It is because your model is standing in front of the right evidence and still needs a better courtroom.
Exactly. First, make sure the truth is in the room. Then, tune the rules that decide whether the model can recognize it, rank it, and stay loyal to it. In RAG, the edge is not more words. It is better obedience to evidence.